The first review video of 2020 is the ever-evolving KTM Duke 390. We have been part of the journey of the KTM brand in India since 2012, and I myself purchased very first model of the 2013 KTM Duke 390. It's amazing how year after year they keep adding features to the motorcycle, whereas the competition of the BMW G310R just looks like an overpriced joke now. The same 373.3cc single-cylinder liquid-cooled 4-valve DOHC engine is now back with BS6 certification, but it does not lose any power on torque. It remains the same at 43.5 horsepower and 37 Newton meters of torque, which is a feat in itself by KTM engineers. The addition of a quickshifter does make it interesting though. So does the BS6 engine change the power delivery, and how much difference will that quickshifter make to the 0 to 100 timings? Let's find out in the review of the 2020 KTM Duke 390. Early on, the motorcycle feels just the same as the previous version. However, the rear suspension setting on the bike I received was set to the hardest, which made the motorcycle bouncy over bad patches of roads. Also, the seat height felt raised with the high preload setting and close to or over 825mm. One thing that KTM has never compromised with are the tires. The 150 section wide rear tire provides a lot of stability at higher speeds, and even the front tires are great for some lean overs and stability on the hard braking. However, when these tires wear out, you do have the option to go for the Apollo Alpha H1 tires, which are W rated and much more superior with longer life and better grip, or you can go with the Metzeler's W rated tires, which are grippy but do not have that long a life. Ergonomics wise, ever since 2017 the KTM has improved greatly. The bigger airbox meant a higher seat height, which means that it's a challenge for anybody below 5 feet 5 inches. But taller riders would find it better. I would like KTM India to introduce a power part seat which brings down the seat height. However, you can also do this at a local modifier shop by cutting the foam of the seat, but still an official solution would be good because there are a lot of short riders who are a little scared of the KTM Duke 390. The handlebars feel just in the right position with about 15-degree lean forward for a guy of my height, around 5 feet 8 inches, and that gives enough front end feel for counter-steering maneuvers in traffic, and yet not aggressive enough to cause wrist pains like some of the super sport bikes. The wider fuel tank offers a lot of space for your knees, along with the foot pegs, which are a bit too rare set, and all-day rides where covering around 500 kilometers on the Duke does put a strain on the bent knee. However, on shorter rides or city commutes, you're most likely not going to experience this. The seats are wide and quite firm and supportive. The rider seat is comfortable enough for all-day rides, but the pillion seat is better for short stints for say about 100 kilometers. Overall, I've found the ergonomics to be really impressive for a naked bike. In touring, I would say that the motorcycle does 100 km/h speed in 6th gear right above 6000 RPM, which means if you stretch it to about 8,500 RPM, the motorcycle can cruise up to 135 or around 140, which is extremely high for a cruising speed. I know that the engine feels stressed, but KTM engines have been able to take that kind of pounding, and I've done it for 3.5 hours without any major problems on the KTM Duke 390. So you do get that this is a fast cruising motorcycle. Also, if you're maintaining 120, I think it can do it for 8 hours a day, no problems at all. And with the 13.5 liters of fuel tank which they introduced in 2017, this bike does have a decent range on the highway. So for those who ride faster on the highways like me, I definitely prefer the Duke 390 over the Dominar 400 for touring, especially because the bike being lighter and torquey, at the same time offers better braking, so I can do those higher speeds safely. Handling wise, the KTM always feels extremely sharp, and the weight is around 172 kilograms, but thanks to the trellis frame it feels lighter than that, and that way I've always been able to just point and shoot this bike. It gives me enough confidence to ride aggressively. Of course, going fast means you have to stop faster as well. The front brake provides a lot of bite along with strong progressive follow through, and the rear discs are kind of like a support system. I use a 70-30 braking ratio, and there even the rear chips in quite nicely to provide a very nice stopping feel. Of course, there's the dual channel switchable ABS from Bosch to take care of the sudden panic braking, or even when you're braking on wet or broken surfaces. The brakes on the KTM Duke 390 make it one of the safest bikes in this segment, and basically one of the reasons why I prefer it over the Domino 400 for highway touring. Features is one department where the Duke 390 outshines others by a mile. We already know about the lightweight steel trellis frame and the angular lines, which just adds so much to the styling. The full color TFT dash was a segment first, and it's easy to read, looks ultra premium, and can be read under all lighting conditions. The console offers Bluetooth connectivity with smartphone to display caller ID and music tracks, along with the ability to take and reject calls, increase the volume of music, or even change tracks. The headlamp is a 12 segment full LED unit with LED DRLs, and this unit is quite functional at night. Also, the tail lamp along with indicators are LED as well. You don't have to spend thousands of rupees on adjustable brake and clutch levers because it's standard fitment on a KTM Duke 390. There is a ride-by-wire and a switchable ABS system with the Supermoto mode for those who like to slide out the rear. And of course, the newest addition to this long list of features is the bidirectional quickshifter or quickshifter auto blipper combo. I used it hundreds of times in my limited time with this motorcycle, and only once did I hit a false neutral while going from first to second gear. Elsewhere, it worked perfectly. I personally like the way that 43mm upside down fork is set up, but it is non-adjustable. On the other hand, the rear, which is a 10-step preload adjustable suspension system from WP, was set to a very harsh setting from the factory on the bike that I got, but you can easily soften it, and even shorter riders can soften it to reduce the seat height. Any motorcycle from KTM's lineup is known for its sporty performance, and the RCs have always been very track focused, but the Duke 250 and the 390 can hold their own on a track day. The bike feels stable mid-corner, and out of the corner acceleration is really linear, so you can get early on the gas while exiting the corner. One major concern has been the early limiter hit on the KTM bikes. Here the limiter is a shade above 10,000 RPM, and it's a hard limiter hit, which means I hit it quite a few times while riding aggressively, and it doesn't hit it softly. Once you bounce off the limiter, the speed immediately decreases quite a bit, which kind of screws off your line if you're doing corner. The quick shifter does help while you're in the straights to shift quickly if you hit the limiter, but I can't shift mid corner, and that's where I kept hitting the limiter. So I wish KTM would offer a map to unlock higher RPMs, especially for those who are on track users. Those who are commuting with this motorcycle or touring with it will most likely not feel this. If I'm going to complain about the motorcycle, probably the early hit of the limiter is the only thing that I can complain about in this excellent motorcycle. It's been a long and personal journey with the KTM Duke 390. This is the 2013 edition. This is my personal bike. Initially it was 43.5 horsepower and 35 Newton meters of torque, BS3 standard engine, and in 2013 this was the same model. In 2015 they added a slipper clutch. They reduced the throttle angle to a 90 degree, from a 90 degree to a 60 degree angle, and then in 2017 we made a huge leap forward, completely changed the styling, and they made improvements to the ergonomics by raising the seat height, and that practically made that you were slouched forward a little bit, gave you more feedback on the front. They made a larger airbox, of course, to increase a little bit of air intake into the engine. They improved the torque by 1 Newton meters. So in 2017 we have had the biggest torque changes, and in 2018 they made the motorcycle to a BS4 standard, And then in 2020 we are finally here with the KTM Duke 390 2020 edition, which is now BS6 compliant. And unlike other manufacturers who are just happy to improve their engine specs from the BS4 to BS6, KTM actually went there and added in a quick shifter, and it's a bi-directional quick shifter, both up and down. What that directly means is while you're commuting, there's less engagement of clutch. You don't need to use it while upshifting or downshifting. It's going to make huge differences to the 0 to 100 timing, and those who are taking this motorcycle out on the track, you will also feel the difference. In touring, maybe not so much, but imagine if you're riding 12 to 14 hours a day and you have to use the clutch for that longer period. So whatever clutch usage is less, that will be safer on your left hand. A lot of cushion for the rider as well as the pillion, and it's pretty wide for both of them. I would not still recommend this motorcycle for 2-up touring, but in city your pillion will be comfortable, and for touring the rider at least is comfortable. I have done hundreds of kilometers in a single day on a 2017 and 2018 KTM Duke 390, and since it has the same seat, I can safely tell you that it is a very good motorcycle to do all day tourings. Now when we rode this motorcycle today, we came up with a few observations. First of all, I think the power delivery has been mellowed out. It's a little smoother, probably will deliver better mileage, but the hooliganism, you know, with the more stricter emission norms, it is getting reduced, so not a lot of people will enjoy that. However, it is still faster thanks to the quick shifter in the acceleration. Top speed remains in that 158 to 160 kilometers per hour, which wasn't very impressive considering my old Duke 390 can still do 173 kilometers per hour even after it's a 6-year-old bike. So yeah, top end performance has been a little bit cut down. The previous bike was prone to wheelies, the 2017 edition. Haven't tried wheelies on this one, but I feel if we did, it still has that same eagerness to come up, and the same around 55-60 degree throttle, which means getting the full throttle on is very easy. So that's not very beginner friendly. For pro riders, for enthusiast riders, will definitely enjoy that. I hope you guys like this review and will subscribe for future updates. Next week we're doing the review of the 390 Adventure, which a lot of you have requested, and then we'll try to make a review on the KTM Duke 200, which is coming with the 250 chassis right now. So a lot of videos coming, and we've got something big surprise coming in around March 22. So you should stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. This is Rahul. Goodbye.